Hi guys, welcome back. All right, Geminis, let's get into this. So obviously we have the backdrop of peacocks, and so with that in mind, we probably have a little bit of pride, or we have beauty. Maybe we have some courtship energy, but we'll see. We start out with Cancerian vibe, and it is in the reverse. We don't have movement forward with this chariot. The chariot is blocked. Somebody got a flat tire. Um, Hopefully not a real flat tire, but there is a lack of balance. It could even be that somebody says, and maybe this is the case, maybe somebody says, this is not divinely guided that I move forward right now. The halo is not floating over me. I can't do this right now. There's a reason that I can't do this right now. We have a time of personal success, though, Gemini, followed by the Seven of Wands and the Three of Wands. Okay, so one avenue of life is kind of closed out, and it looks like it's because, or it's not open yet. Let me put it that way. One direction that a character might want to go isn't available to them yet, and that's because it's a better time to just wallow in one's personal success, have a really great time. Six of Wands is like, personally, I'm doing awesome. I'm loving this. I get to challenge myself in other ways. This is how we overcome struggles. It almost feels like, it's going to sound very specific, but it is what it is. If Gemini is supposed to not go one direction at the moment because they need to go a different direction, let's say they need to take a vacation, and so that's why they haven't instantly found the another job opportunity yet, and it's because they've already come through some big hurdles in life. It's time to celebrate those successes. There will always be more mountains to climb, but if we never really get a chance to revel in the things that we've just accomplished, and this could be as simple as, I need to take one day off and drive over to the beach instead of, just to celebrate and kind of unwind after I've accomplished something. Let's say, I don't know, that I know, again, this is very specific, but maybe someone has just accomplished, like, let's say they're a jewelry maker and they've just done some beautiful piece, and it had millions of beads on it, and it was so much work where it was all very fine detail. When we complete something big, I feel like it's something sparkly. I'm not saying it has to be jewelry, but that's the vision in my head. But it could be something that literally is sparkly. And I also get a DJ vibe, somebody who's like put together a great compilation of music, or they had an opportunity to like present and put their stuff out there, maybe got their website up and running, and it's flashy and it's fun, and they feel so proud of themselves. They put something into motion. Now, will there be lots more work coming in next? Yes, but for a hot minute, it is time to pause, revel in the success, the effort that's already been put forth, and plan on, okay, I'm going to take a day off, and I'm also going to regroup and start planning for the future. What do I do next? Instead of just keeping on a steady grind. So there's a reason that the an instantaneous, like, additional event isn't lined up for our Gemini, and it's because they need just a hot minute to celebrate, and then calmly put plans in place for their next hurdle. This is a Gemini who likes to see successes happen in their life, but if that's one side of them, that one half of Gemini's character can be so incredibly driven that they just keep going and going and going and going. They instantly, end one speech only to start writing their next one, and and they never pause. They could burn out. And so this is like the universe is saying, hey, we're going to give you just a hot minute to catch your breath, revel in how well you've done, and then start thinking about the next adventure. We're going to give you just a little breathing space here, because something is not happening. The next opportunity isn't here quite yet, because you need to just revel in what you just accomplished. The Fool and the Three of Swords. Okay. This is, I'm going to say that against the backdrop of this story of a character that is very driven and very successful, one of the things that has driven our characters so hard is they have been getting over a heartbreak, and nothing sometimes drives us to become more successful than heartbreak and betrayal. Things that hurt us make us sometimes crumble, or they make us um, crumble to the ground. So then we hit a foundation and we start growing from there. And sometimes we skyrocket to huge success from there. And that is probably the reason there's this real need for our character to be protected from burnout, because they might have been pushing really hard, because in truth, they had a pretty big heartbreak. And this is our character has skyrocketed and jumped beyond the heartbreak and leapt into a successful energy in their life, and they have made beautiful progress. Whatever their progress is, it could be big, it could be small, it doesn't matter. It's a goal they set for themselves, and they jumped into it with, their whole heart in order to like get over a heartbreak. Well, that again means that they burned up a lot of fuel in their gas tank. They probably were running on, pure adrenaline for a lot of this. And for them to reflect and say, wow, look at that. Look at how far I've come. It's not to readdress heartbreak, but it's to acknowledge, that there's a lot of songs out there that are like, oh gosh, is it Christina Aguilera, the thanks for making me stronger, or thanks for making me a fighter? That is the vibe on this. If our character is going to reflect for just a minute on, yeah, something treated me crummy, but you know what? Look at who I am now. Look at me shine. Look at me flash. Look at me being all successful. So thanks for the motivation to be all that I am today. And I just feel like that's a great moment of not only celebrating but also reflecting. Now, our character does not need hurt and heartbreak and pain to motivate them to be successful, right? That just happens to be a component of this story. Our character, though, in looking at their future, let's get another message on this for our Gemini. We have the Devil and we have the Nine of Wands. um, Especially the message here is that I'm glad that we've addressed the idea that there was some kind of heartbreak that was a major motivator, because it says if we try to hold on to that, or any anger, or any like, now I want to really show them, I can't wait to, post the pictures of my, awesome physique, my revenge body or something, I want them to cry over the fact that I'm gone. That could become a negative motivation, because now instead of moving on from it, we're actually still really thinking about that person from the past. And I think Gemini is astute enough to realize that and say, okay, I wanted to get over a heartbreak, and I poured myself into my successful life, and I've made these benchmarks. But if I continue to say this is my motivation because I want them to know what they're missing out on, then I'm not really doing it for me. I want to make sure I check that. That's awesome. Maybe that's the other reason the universe is like, hang on now. You've done amazing, but think about your future. What do you want to motivate you as you continue to be successful? And this is a time of reflection for Gemini to realize, yeah, it isn't about them. Because otherwise I'd be kind of obsessing about, I wonder if they're thinking about, how great I am and how much they're missing me. No. Gemini's like, are you kidding me? I'm way beyond that. I'm almost healed from this. I'm not going to make them be my motivation, which is nice because we've seen both sides of it, right? We've seen a character that used something negative to their benefit, but now they're saying, and I can say thanks for that. Thanks. Look at how well I've done. But not really thanks, because in truth, it shouldn't have happened. All it showed me is that I deserve more for me. And that's what I've been doing is I deserve to heal, and that's why I do this. It isn't so that I can rub your nose in things when I'm more successful, and when I'm looking great and smelling good and having my best life. In fact, it doesn't matter. And if you're out there staring at me, that's your problem, not mine. I really think that this is a terrific cleansing moment for Gemini also. They might be saying, it doesn't matter if somebody's watching me and missing me. This is really just about me and my success now. That is beautiful. And that is like the final capstone of that final moment of healing. Now, I think this is really important because keep in mind, the next chapter of Gemini's life was on pause for just a moment, even though they making all of this success. They have something really big. Maybe there's a lovely Cancerian that's going to enter their life. Only emperors and empresses get to ride in chariots. So it could be that this is very much the journey of a character who's healing fully and completely. We've got a 5 of coins in the reverse, the 5 of cups upright, and the magician upright. Well, this is our Gemini. Gemini is manifesting in a big way. It does feel like Gemini is not wounded by anything at this point. The X, and this is probably an X, is feeling more regret than they ever have. They may literally be crying over Gemini. That is not what Gemini is trying to manifest. All they want to do is move forward, but it's like they're taking their energy and their resources and they're pouring it into their own life, their own projection. This is Gemini Virgo vibe, and it feels like our Gemini is, well, obviously they've become a major arcana, right? They're not on a journey anymore. They've arrived at their power position and they're showing up as themselves in this story, right? Our character is not concerned or worried about what the X is doing, how sad the X is. They're not in a place of deficit themselves. They're in a very profound place of peace, and they're meditating on what they're moving toward and what they're pulling toward themselves. I really think, even though sometimes when a character fully devotes themselves to planning their own life or manifesting something for themselves, I think it's frequent that we'll see like X's suddenly want to like wait, and they like want to latch on. I'm picturing like in those horror movies where like the hand comes up from the grave and they grab a hold onto our hero unexpectedly out of the ground, and it's like this was already over. It's a done situation, but they still want to latch on and be like, no, don't let me be in the past. I want to be with you. I really miss you. Yes, but it's probably because they can feel that this is the ending point. This is where the storyline ends for them and Gemini is just gonna be a regret for them. Gemini is just gonna be a memory of someone or something that they didn't build with, they didn't hold on to, and in fact, they may have deep regrets for whatever hurt, heartbreak, or betrayal they were a part of or that they directly caused. That's theirs to deal with. It isn't something Gemini has to carry with them. This is all about wherever Gemini is heading next. Yes, that X is crying over Gemini right now, but I think this is it, like Gemini is going to be insulated from that. This is all part of that chariot. So I didn't realize that the chariot in the reverse could have been the X also that is not permitted to approach Gemini anymore. Gemini has written them out of their future. And that was the other important component that I didn't see until now. Gemini needed to envision their future full of love, full of healing, full of happiness, full of new adventures, new exciting things to do, like really come up with a bunch of scenarios in their head and heart space of how awesome and how happy their life can be. And none of them need to feature their crying ex or their ex trying to return to them. I didn't realize that this was going to be depicting Gemini's manifesting a world that does not include hearing from their ex. Even if there's the acknowledgement that the ex is out there wishing for Gemini, the ex is somehow going to be prevented from reaching out to Gemini because it is the past, and we're ready to let that old flame go. It's that's it. We don't need that anymore. We have the Strength card upright. We have the Nine of Swords. We keep getting like this energy of positive strength, power. Yes, they are very focused on the Gemini. They are. This X keeps showing up like they're every energy that is positive has this opposite negativity to it. And I really feel it's the regrets settling on this X. But every time that the Gemini moves more toward happiness, maybe they're moving toward a Leo at some point, there's more success, there's more empowerment, there's more peace for the Gemini. And by contrast, that X can feel the gap widening between themselves and Gemini. We have a double dose of Leo. So I'm going to say that there is probably a huge sense of rebirth and happiness, possibly with a Leo. in Gemini's life. There's definitely clarity. I think if Gemini is manifesting, like thinking about what kind of partner they'd want to have, they want somebody bold. They want, a lion to their lioness, or, whatever. It doesn't matter what genders we're talking about, but they want somebody who's clear on their intentions, who's straightforward, somebody that is going to be equally as powerful, somebody that stands beside them. They want a happy life. And that's all they're thinking about. They're not concerned with an ex. And that is what's driving the ex bananas. I can feel this chasm opening up where once upon a time, Gemini's energy, they still thought about me, or it wasn't really over yet. But it really feels like this is, I'm picturing like taffy being pulled way too far out until finally because if you're making taffy, you do the pulls, and then if you do it too far, you'll break. It can only stretch so far. I feel like that's the energetic cord. They knew that it had been pulled, but maybe they thought, they would be brought back again and again and again. Maybe with that Three of Swords that had already occurred, maybe this was a relationship that it's like, yeah, I know I hurt Gem, but then, we patch it back up, and then I do it again, and then we patch it back up. And well, this time, it just kept separating. The ending is real now. And Gemini is, the further Gemini gets away from this, and the more success they have, and the more they just want success for themselves, and the more they picture a life for themselves without that ex in it, that is becoming very real. I feel like this is showing passage of time, and they're really realizing this is it. I lost Gemini for good this time. They're not taking me back. They're loving their life without me. They're manifesting a life with somebody else. This is High Priestess. There is a final understanding between Gemini and this person where it's like, and I know this storyline is over. I'm happy, and I'm moving towards somebody new, and it gets clearer and brighter for me every single day. I'm really happy now. Our time together has come to a complete close. There's no reconciliation. There's no more, that whole avenue has been shut down because I've moved, thousands of miles into my future, and my future doesn't bring you with me. This is the energetic cord being cut. 10 of Pentacles, and this is the new land, the new world. I always think of this as like Georgia, or some place where there's, like cypress trees growing, really beautiful. I've never been down south myself. That's on my list. I tried to go a year ago, and I just couldn't make it happen. It was too busy of a year. But I feel like whoever Gemini is ending up with, or whatever they're ending up with, they could go into like a whole different thing in life. They could end up in like local politics in a whole different area than they've ever lived in. They could wind up opening up a yoga studio. They could end up living in a place with a beautiful swimming pool. They could end up extremely wealthy. And it's like what they are manifesting for themselves is total abundance, peace, joy, and things that matter to them. This is their culmination of their life. I'm going to leave that here. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. I love the motion forward for our character. All right, you guys, thanks for giving it a thumbs up.